All right, hold on. I'm not saying it's inherently bad to look at a screen, just in and of itself. But given how often I look at a screen, for how long I look at a screen, all day, every day, I kind of want to break from it. I kind of want to look at a chessboard to play chess, have, varied vocal ranges, not be having a bright, short torch shined in my eyes. I kind of want to break from it. I kind of want to be looking at a chessboard whilst playing chess. So, I've got this board, and I can play chess online through the board. It's like, that's the mouse. That's the interface. So, let's give it a go. Need to turn it round. Hold on a minute. So my opponent plays d4. So, I'm playing the King's Indian, they play c4. I'm going to go straight in with g6. The thing is, I've got to keep looking at it's not right now, but I've got to, over time, check the screen to see how long I've got. Because that's the only thing I can't see on this board. I can't see the time. So they've played f3, which is unusual, I think. It controls my knight. What else is it doing? It's supporting e4. And I don't think it really changes what I want to do. It's a little bit, it feels a little bit slow. But I'm going to go with this anyway. I'm going to play my standard bishop to g7, sorry. And e4. And now I'm going to play d6. Knight to c3. I'm going to castle. They're playing very fast. Bishop to e3. Supporting d4, just developing. So if I play e5, they can take, I can take, they can take, I can take, and I end up with a rook on d8. Now they can challenge that rook with their own rook to d1, and if I took, they can take back with the knight. So it's not like I'm stopping them castling, but it wouldn't be a terrible position for black. But I think instead, I'm just going to get on with normal development. I'm going to put my knight to d7. I'm down to 12 minutes. They're still above their starting time. Obviously, this is how I play rapid chess. Queen to d2, eyeing up h6. I could move the rook out of the way. So I could go rook e8, and then if bishop h6, then bishop h8. I don't think I want to move my rook to e8 at this point. So I'm thinking my natural move here is e5. e5, and if takes, then I can take with the knight. And then if bishop h6, I just leave it. They can trade my bishop. And although I don't want to trade my g7 bishop, I think that moving the rook to e8 at this point and then hiding away in the corner with my bishop is just not... It feels a bit cramped. A bit too cramped. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. The good thing about this is I actually don't know my opponent's rating. I don't even know my own rating. Okay, so they push. They close it down. That's good news, I think. Now the f5 move, eventual f5 looks good for me. Now, I am re-tempted by rook e8. I think I'm going to start with queen e7 though. Queen e7, looking after the d6 pawn, looking at a potential c5, because if white takes en passant, I'm now defending the undefended d6 square. They are still above their starting time, and I am woefully down. All right, so they're going to go hard. They're playing g4. Makes a lovely hole on f4 for my pieces to land on, potentially. Also, where's their king going to go? Okay, so things I'm seeing are the fact that my f5 idea has been shut down, but weaknesses have been created in White's camp. So f3 and f4, and also the fact that their king is now less safe. They're probably going to castle queenside, if at all. So I think I just need to get my remaining piece out. Bishop needs to go somewhere. And I also need to... So they can't play... I don't think they will want to play g5 straight away, because I can just put my knight on h5. And they've run out of attacking pieces on the king side, just temporarily. So I think I'm going to push c6, ask the central pieces, the central pawns a question. The answer is they don't give a shit. They're just going to go straight in and attack me. How am I going to meet h? I'm just not sure how I'm going to meet h5, so I might have to play h5 myself. If h5, and I just don't do anything, they can push h6, but I don't think they'll want to do that. But instead they can take h takes g, and then probably f takes g. Opens up my rook. Okay, I am down quite significantly on the clock. I haven't been playing rapid chess, I've been playing classical chess, and now you can sort of sense that. And I'm always slow when I'm filming, so it's not a mystery. Okay, I'm going to close it down. I'm just looking at various different combinations or variations on the king side with these pawn pushes, and I'm not seeing anything that scary. I've got pieces, and I've got a reasonably strong pawn structure. So one sort of defensive idea could be to put the king on h8 and put the knight that's currently on f6 on g8. And then it would defend h6 nicely with the bishop and the knight. But the problem is, if I do play king h8 straight away, or if I play it at any point right now, then White can just straight away put the bishop on h6 before I have time to put the knight on g8. Okay, so h6 played. My plan was just to ignore that, or at least not do anything crazy. So I can't put my king on h8 right now because I'd lose my bishop with h6. I think I'm going to play on the queen side. See what White does with those pawns. They may just leave them in tension, but it looks like White just wants to push pawns, so I think they might just be tempted to take. Yeah, they want to just crash through. Just double checking. Yeah, I'm going to take with this f pawn. 3 minutes and 54. I need to be a little bit quicker. Quite a lot quicker. Quite a lot quicker. Come on. Okay, get in fast chess mode. If g5, then knight h6. Knight h5. Interesting. The knight hops in. So if I just move my knight, my f6 knight to e8, for example, then my rook's eyes are open and my queen can give a check. The bishop can block. Yeah, I'm going to go here. I think White has blocked the rook's sight of h4, and they have undefended that pawn all in one move. I think I can take advantage of that. But I need to keep my eye on the clock. They've got a backward pawn, and they just undefended that backward pawn. And I think they're trying to rush me. So let's not be rushed. Let's play quickly, but not hastily. Knight jumps in, and I'm going to kick that knight, I think. It's going to land on... I think I might just remove back with the knight. No, then this one comes in here. Now knight e6 will be taken by my bishop. I'll win a pawn. I'm covering h7, and next move I can kick the knight somewhere, probably back where it came from. Just because the bishop and the queen can no longer see h6, and then I can maybe reinforce that with my king for a move. So h6, knight drops back to no, h6 isn't great actually. I don't like h6 anymore. No more h6. I'm not playing it. Okay, they developed the bishop. I am going to play h6. I have thought of a new way. So I thought the problem with h6 was if knight to e6, attacking my rook and bishop, I'd have to take with the bishop, and then when they take back, now I'm struggling to defend the h6 pawn because now there's 3 attackers on it and just 1 defender. But after knight to e6, bishop takes knight on e6, pawn takes knight on e6, which might just happen now. I can push g5. Just double checking. Yeah, I don't have time to double check. So now I might have time to go knight to c6. Sorry, knight to c7, then to e6, then to f4. Land on a hole, and white would have to give up their bishop pair. Long castles by white. I'm down to 2 minutes. That's okay. So this is a weak pawn now. I think that's okay. I'm going to take this pawn. Keep an eye on my own pawn, and then I'm going to bring the rook over, I think, to d8. Knight jumps in. Very well. Now this knight has a responsibility on e8 to look over the forking square. 1 minute and 15. Okay. b8. Looking to break on b5, and potentially, given some simplification with this tension of the knights in the center, I might put my rook on b6 to defend the d6 pawn, rather than just going fully passive and going d8. I don't want to go fully passive. My opponent's got way more time than me, but that's okay. Okay, they take the knight. And I'm going to take back with the rook, I think, because then I'm both defending h6 and defending d6 in one fell swoop. Now my knight has jumping rights. It can do whatever the hell it wants. Rook lift. Okay. Didn't expect the rook lift. I'm just going to push. I've got more than enough defending h6. So even if they bring the other rook over, all that will do is it will make me feel comfortable leaving d6 in the capable hands of my rook. But I do like my rook on f6 actually. It's tying down. Okay, I'll just think rather than speaking. I'm not going to take that pawn obviously. 51 seconds, eh? Get my knight into the game. I don't need it defending the d6 pawn anymore. If c takes b, then a takes b, importantly, rather than a knight or a rook, because then the bishop would come in to c4 and my queen and my king are aligned. Queen infiltrates and my queen says, okay, I'm defending quite nicely. The pressure on d6 is reduced. Yeah, I'm going to take with the pawn as mentioned. Now I could have put my queen on d7 rather than e7, and I think that might have been a good idea actually. What about if I go here? The queen can't take the pawn straight away because the knight would take it. The knight's defended by the queen. Kicks the queen out of the way and says, hey, I might win a pawn. They can give a check. I don't care about that check. The queen goes back. I'm going to win a pawn. I've got to be quick. I've lost that pawn. I don't care about that pawn. The check comes in. Expected. I don't want to go on here because I'd lose my pawn. Okay, what have we got? 58 seconds to 7 minutes and 50. If I get very close to running out of time, I'm going to be struggling to actually notice. So I need to be not that close to running out of time. Okay, this could be interesting. I think I might just push. I like the look of pushing. Yeah, because the reason why I'm pushing is because if you put the king in front, you can't attack it with a rook at this point. So I like that. 32 seconds, a little bit without ideas at the moment. Just bringing the queen a little bit closer to the king side, looking at knight b5. I kind of want to bring my... Ah, yes, nice move from my opponent there. Missed that. 23 seconds. I see that if bishop takes knight, then I'm losing the other pawn, but I kind of also like that my queen's eyeing up things like, yeah, that's a check. Fair enough. And I'm going to check the time and come here. I don't want to trade queens because they could have just given a check on d5 with their queen, so I'm trying to avoid that. Okay, I've got 20 seconds. I like that their rook on h3 is a little bit like, what's it doing? It's not even defending the b3 pawn because of the f3 pawn. I am looking at rook to d8, pinning this bishop. I think the bishop will move. I don't know if it'll just take the pawn, but, and I mean the pawn on a3, but I have got bishop f8 if it does do that. Okay, queen trade? I don't think so. I really don't think so. No. And again, looking at the 7th rank or the 2nd rank, so f2 comes to mind. Obviously, they can just block with the rook, but I'm not going to do it just yet. I think that's a slightly longer term plan. Still looking at rook d8. Bishop takes here, and I missed that my queen move undefended the pawn, unfortunately. Okay, yeah. Just lucky that my queen now defends the h6 pawn. Queen infiltrates. I'm expecting the rook to block. It does, and now I say, okay, I'm coming here, and if you take with the rook, you lose a pawn, and if you take with the queen, you lose a rook. I'm used to playing over-the-board chess in person, where you have to avoid using both your hands because it's illegal. But in this, I can save some time and use both my hands. Yeah, I'm just lost, unfortunately. Okay, they just take. No more. Yep, resign. Well played, my opponent.
White wins.
That certainly wasn't great, but I do prefer to play games where I play well and make blunders than just playing poorly throughout, maybe making one mistake, because I can cut out the blunders, but it's harder to actually learn how to play well. So I feel like there were points in where I actually played decently. So here I shouldn't have played e5. I should instead have probably played c5. And the difference is, imagine if white made all the same moves, so d5, and then well, if I play e5 now, I don't think that's a great move either, because I'm just blocking. It's still not a great move because I'm blocking off this bishop, and I don't really have much of a response to this. My knight would like to go to e5 in this position, basically, and in a different variation. So imagine if instead of this, I play a6, then g4, just imagining like what would happen if white did all the same stuff. b4, not that white would, but b5, h4, knight e5, and this is the crucial difference, h5, and then I can then play e6 and sort of break away the center a little bit. And in this position, black's doing fine. Like white can't come here because of this fork, and now this structure looks a bit silly because this knight's doing so well. But in the game, I blocked off that with e5 now, push, and then I was saying like, okay, I want to support here, but actually this is a mistake because it's just too slow. I didn't really have much of an aim. I was just trying to develop. I suppose the aim was to defend this pawn in the event of c5, but I think better would have been knight h5, and now if this, then I can actually put my knight here, which I think I'm just naturally averse to because I'm losing a pawn. But if I push here, then things are opening up. The king is in the center of the board still. This is open. This is available. So yeah, this looks much better than what happened in the game. So I didn't. I started playing really slowly. So this is a mistake, just super slow. H4, and then again another mistake because same reason. It's just too slow. Like what am I doing? I'm like trying to close off the center because that's what happens in the King's Indian. I'm just sort of like playing off sort of memories of how to play this rather than actually looking at the position and trying to ask the question of what it requires. So instead of c5, I should probably played h5. And then if g5, then I can just come back with the knight. This is now nice and blocked. This bishop doesn't really have much to say about things. And then if white does go with f4, I can take, and then the center is starting to open up and the king's still in the center of the board. Not that it would have been winning, but just better than what I did. So h5, a6, h takes g, and now I played accurately here, actually. The computer liked what I was doing. I didn't see this knight jumping into here and resolving both the things I mentioned. So I was like, okay, I'm going to attack these two squares. And then this does both of the things. Covers this square, can't get to there, and defends this square. And then I played back with the correct knight. And again, pushing at the right time, realizing I can eventually do this, which is nice, which is like the only move. So I'm happy with all this. I should have taken here. Should have taken this, blocking off this. So if like this happens, then this square is now, this pawn is now much stronger. And I suppose if white insists and says I'm going to take with the rook, I suppose it's relatively easy to defend that pawn. So, for example, rook here, and then attacking the knight, attacking the rook with tempo, and the rook has to then get out of that square. So, I didn't think of that. I thought, okay, I don't want to bring the white pieces in, so I was just trying to avoid trading. And I like this rook. I still like this rook even now, doing a lot of good things. And then I think white shouldn't really have come in with the queen. I don't really see what it was doing. Instead of coming here with the queen, I should have gone here. Subtle difference, because I'm basically keeping an eye on here. And in the game, we saw that this square was weak. Obviously, again, white wouldn't have necessarily pushed this pawn if my queen was here, but it stops white being able to do that because my queen is eyeing up that square. That apparently wasn't accurate, but the better move was, this is the only move that the engine showed me, which I just felt like, okay, I would never play this in the game, but double exclam, pawn push, dd5. And there are a bunch of ideas, but it's basically just trying to open lines to the king, which is much weaker than my king. I say much weaker. I think in this case, d5 sort of proves that it's weaker. So imagine if this all happened. Let's say if e takes d is the most important. So d5, e takes d, and then we have e4, and then we don't even recapture, just come in looking at this, and say if white were to try and curl up and defend, then the rook can come across attacking the queen, and then you win a rook. And if the queen doesn't sort of give up, so say if the queen comes here instead, then I can give this check and then take this pawn, and it's still collapsing. There's too many open lines coming towards the queen, towards the king. It's just not good for white. So instead, I pulled the rook over, which wasn't accurate for those reasons, because d5 was so good. Basically, I just never would have seen that. That's fine. I'm not unhappy about my rook coming over. I am unhappy. So then I start making absolute blunders. So give a check. That's fine. I did spot that I can't come here, for example, which would have been really bad. So I come over, and then king b2, which is terrible apparently, and I should just take. And I understand that I should take now because I'm opening lines to the king. I can eventually push and come in with this rook. This rook's already, like, eyes are open really nicely. If the king takes, I think you just push, and then the rook coming over looks awful, and it's with the tempo to attack the bishop. So the d5 move is super cool in lots of variations. But I pushed. And I think if I had more time, I wouldn't have pushed. But I pushed thinking, okay, I've got this passed pawn. And I said in the game, like, if the king goes in front, then the rook can't come behind and attack it. So it's like a safer passed pawn. But it was misguided. I should have taken. So I didn't. And then this was obviously misguided, just lost a pawn for nothing. And then takes. And this is a very sad moment in the game because I think I was trying to make sure I'm not just going to trade queens here because I'm down a pawn and my position is probably a bit weaker than, or more precarious than white's. But if I did take, it's a two move tactic here. I win this bishop because the bishop can't come back. The rook's now on an undefended square. This rook can't defend the rook in one move. I suppose it can like that, but then this bishop's hanging. So the fact that the bishop is attacked twice and defended once, and if this rook could go here instead, I can't even draw the arrow in Lichess, but if it can come here, then all would be well for white, but it's not. So that was a miss, a real miss. I did have less time at this point, but I was trying to continue to be tricky, forgetting that the pawn was hanging, and then we all saw this. This is just silly, just forcing something that wasn't there. I was aware that I could come back and attack the rook, but it was just too little. And this pawn is crucial. I think we can't let this rook in behind enemy lines. Too many undefended pieces, and then it's just a one move checkmate. So, like I say, I'm happier to be making these kind of blunders that I can rectify relatively easily. Please let me know what you think of the video format in the comments, because this is new for me. I haven't played with a electronic board before, and I'm sure I'll make little tweaks as to how it looks. I know that the camera on the board was wobbling a bit, so I'll sort that out in the next video as well. And I have a discount code which gives you a nice chunky discount if you fancy the Chessnut Air Plus, which is the board I was playing with. I think you get a discount on all their products because they sent me a free board and I've now got an affiliate link. That's how these things work. So yeah, leave me any comments. I'll be making more of these videos and hopefully playing a little bit better. So speak to you soon. Lots of love. See you later. Goodbye.